Hello and welcome back to the A-List. Today I am going to give you an extra special treat. I'm joined by an award-winning filmmaker and actor, Mr. Cam Woodman.
Oh, shucks, Matt. Aw.
And my favorite stepson.
I would like to say you're my favorite stepfather, but
It's probably not.
You're just never around.
No, we would all know that you're lying, so yeah.
What? Yeah, I'm not good at lying. Like, I mean, maybe if we played catch a couple times, but as it is right now, you're kind of dead to me. So.
Your mom and I play catch.
Shots fired, Dad. Shots fired.
They are all shots that she catches.
I don't like how this happens every time.
Dude, thanks for
Great
coming
all
by.
over again. Yeah. No, man, thanks for having me. I'm glad to pal around today.
Yeah, dude. Let's see how many times we can say dude in the next 5 seconds.
Dude.
Anyways, so dude, yeah, thanks for coming in. I have a whole list of questions that I never prepared that I'd like to ask you.
I have a whole bunch of answers that I never prepared either, so.
Perfect.
We're
Okay.
good.
I hope you don't wreck it. I was going to use the F word, but.
No promises. Anything goes, you know. I live my life a quarter mile at a time, so we'll see what happens.
Cam, you're one of the funniest guys I know, and
thanks,
naturally funny. Did we first meet in improv?
Yeah, so that was back in the summer. I was looking to like add that to like my training repertoire, and I wanted to do it like every week. And everybody was like, "Cock to Mac Brown," so I reached out to you, and then we started doing the thing every week, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Dude, yeah, it's been really exciting to just see. I don't know, the space that you hold in a very short amount of time. You know, gaining your energy the very first time I met you, and then just seeing the talent that you brought to the table. Improv is, you know, it's a tougher style of acting, I feel, and you have this great natural instinct and essence that is very comfortable and confident. Where did that develop, and where did that come from?
I mean, like all my life, I was the kid that loved Saturday Night Live, you know, like sketch comedy, improv. It was kind of like what I would do all the time. Like every week I was watching every episode, and like for me, that's the most fun stuff to do. Like if you're making somebody laugh, like if you're adding joy to somebody's day, it's just making everything better. So for me, like it's just been something I've always enjoyed doing. Like even before I got into acting, it was like every job I did, it was like, what's the stupid little game that I can do to, you know, pass the time? And that was my favorite thing. And, you know, when I was younger, I wanted to go down the acting path, but I took a different route. And later in life, I realized like, no, like you can't pass this up anymore. So I just kept going down that route, and I was really dead set on going to Second City. Like that was my plan. Like I was going to be going to Toronto, and then COVID happened and everything was like shut down. So I kind of pivoted and started doing more like voiceover stuff, like training in that regard, because I couldn't leave. Everything was Zoom. But I always kept wanting to do comedy. Like I kept wanting to write. Like that's for me like the most fun thing to do. So after about a year of doing that voice acting training, I started reading for roles on screen, and I got one of them. So it was like, okay, now it's time to like delve deep into the acting training. And that's when I started doing some training with Carly. And then I, from there, did a monologue slam last summer where I did a comedic skit, and I was like, I got to keep going down this route. Like I have to like, and that's kind of where the improv, looking for those classes kind of came to be. So it's like I have to do it. You know?
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Yeah.
You've got such a, like I mentioned before, like a natural instinct within it, and you talk about even before your true pursuit to acting that it existed in the jobs you did. Did you grow up in a funny family, or?
I would say like the Woodman clan, I guess. Like none of us are leading any science departments, you know. Like we're all musicians, we're all like comedians. Like it's like we're all performers. So kind of growing up, like any family event we would go to, people would always be playing music. People would always be joking around, laughing. So it was kind of like just one of those things that was part of our life. Like entertaining was a big thing. So I feel like, yeah, with my family, like it's a natural thing that we have. Obviously, you got to work at it, and you know, there's sometimes things don't hit. But Yeah, I would say growing up, like it was a really big thing for us. Like even my dad, like he would always make us watch movies, and he was really into film and all that stuff. And like at a young age, getting into comedy was big. Like we were watching the things at a certain age we shouldn't have been watching, but I forever will thank him for doing that, you know? But yeah, in my family, it's just kind of always been like one of those things that we do. Like we always joke around, we always play around, and I'm trying to make a career of it. So
You're made for it. When you mention some of the stuff that you were watching and maybe that you shouldn't have been, is there anything memorable in terms of something you found inspiring, or was that you really was part of, kind of like that you've brought with you?
well, for me, the big one, like obviously my idol's Chris Farley. So growing up, like watching a lot of his stuff, just being like look at him doing that stuff. Like look at him, like just not even caring, just going all out. For me, that was huge growing up. You know, like it was something where this guy was just taking over the stage, and he was like hit the skit where he's dancing with what is it, Patrick Swayze, like you know the ridiculous stuff. So for me, growing up, watching Saturday Night Live as like a kid, that was my favorite part of the week. You know, especially in the '90s when it was you were watching all the people that were coming around in that time, and it was for me that would have been the most memorable thing of why I feel like I'm going down this route was just watching that stuff and just seeing how much fun they were having, see how much fun the audiences were having, and like I was just hooked. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Um, I grew up during that era as well. A big gap was left when Chris Farley passed,
Yeah.
and a momentum that was that style of comedy. Um, is that something that you aspire to, create within like your brand? And that is that type of
I would
comedy?
say so. Like definitely the physical element that he adds is something that I try to throw into everything that I do. You know, like don't be afraid to do things with your body. You know,
Yeah,
for me, that's yeah. I would say very much so. The way Chris Farley does things is something that I try to emulate. I
yeah,
wouldn't say copy because I try to add my own spin to things, but if I'm up there trying to make people laugh, that's a lot of the reference points of I go, okay, like this is stuff that I can do that is gonna hit. You know, so.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't watched you do anything that felt like it was even a direct relationship to, you're a very original, very, very intelligent person when it comes to
Oh,
comedy.
thank you.
So most recently, you did this kick ass. Yeah, did you want to say something? It's my stomach. I know that you guys can hear that. You done? I'm interviewing. Great, okay.
It's my time now, all right?
Yeah, that's right. So most recently, you were part of this wildly successful short film. Would you
Yeah.
say short
Yep.
film project? Dad Bod Dale.
Yes.
Link below if you want to
Yep.
pee your pants laughing.
I'm doing
watch
that.
it.
I don't know what it
do
is, but I'm
this,
doing
do-
that.
Do that. How did that? How did that start? Like, what? Tell us the journey of start to
Yep.
finish where we are now.
Yeah, so I guess the start of that has to go back to Monologue Slam last year in the summer here. For what I did Why I Suck as a Salesman by Chris Farley from Tommy Boy. And after that, like me and Carly just started talking because we wanted to do something comedic together. Like we wanted to do a project. So we just kept texting back and forth ideas, and we kept like going through things. And I had this one idea where, you know, you have like how firefighters do their charity counters where they're all like shirtless and they're all chiseled and jacked. I'm like, what if we do one where it's like just me pretending to be that? And then she added the element where it's like, yeah, and we can have this artistic director that's like finding their muse. And then that's kind of where it came to be. And then it was the kind of thing where we like always kept going, oh yeah, we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. And then it just kind of got put on the shelf for a bit. But during that time, I had actually met Jamie Patterson, who does somber colors, and I had filmed a scene when when I took a class at Boardwalk Studios with him, and then after that, he approached me to do a character in his series, and we kind of just like made it together, kind of did all this stuff, and one of the scenes that I did in that, I had to do like a stripping scene, and then after that, we were like, the way it was filmed, I was like, the way that Jamie did it was perfect. Like I figured like if we ever did something similar to that, he would be really good for it.
Yeah.
And we started talking in the fall about doing short content, like YouTube shorts, like 1-2 minute little clips, little videos. And we were like, originally that's what Dad Bod Dale was supposed to be, because we were coming up with ideas of things to do. And I'm going, okay, like I know me and Carly have talked about this, so I was like, we were gonna make something anyways. Like that was when they announced that the OSIF Awards were happening. So I'm like, I need to do something. This is something for us to do right now. Called Carly. I'm like, hey, what do you think about us using this idea with Jamie? And she's like, yeah. So we kind of met up, had an initial meeting, and then from there, I wrote the script. And originally, this thing was supposed to be under 5 minutes. Like we were like, we're gonna do an under 5 minute video. It'll be like a short shoot. And I'm writing it going like, I don't know how I'm gonna tell them that it's like getting to like 18 pages here. But I was like, yeah, guys, it's gonna be a little longer. I sent the script out, and they liked it. They were like, yeah, we're doing this. This is awesome. So then, from that point on, that was back in December, and then we just started planning everything to do, which was tough because Carly had just gone on vacation, so it was like trying to work around that. And then with just like the dates, once like January came up, originally I had planned to film it in a different place, but when I approached them, they didn't want to do this kind of stuff anymore. So I was scrambling. I'm like, where am I going to go? Where am I going to film this? And luckily, I found out that like Lisa Burke's hair salon wanted to start doing this kind of like stuff. So the next day I went in, and it was like perfect. She was like, I'm manifesting somebody to come in and do this, and then you showed up, and it just became a good working relationship. And with that space, like we got hair and makeup, and then that's where a lot of the ideas started coming out. That's when I'm like, hey, so like cornrows, how long would those take? And she's like, 20 minutes. Okay, we're doing them. Like all that stuff. So that's where a lot of like certain elements started getting put together. But then we also realized that since Carly's in the union, we weren't going to be able to figure out in time how to film this so that she could be in it. Because that's like, we had a couple weeks, and we were like, there's no way we can film this with a union actor. So at that point, we found Hannah, and like she killed the role. Like Hannah was so good at that character. But originally it was meant to be like an Eastern European, like thick accent. And we were like, we're not going to be able to find that. So we were like, well, let's do like a Valley Girl type thing like that. And she, like what she improv'd in that audition, like sold it. Like that was like, you're this character, that's the character. But then, there's like a week and a half until we're filming, and I had to rewrite all of those lines because they were all like broken English, or they were all meant for like an Eastern European perspective. So it was definitely like scramble time. So it was like every day, like rushing, like all day getting it done. But we did it, like it happened. And then, yeah, we did 2 days of filming, and it was like long days of filming. Next time I want to try to do it over 4. But yeah, like it was so much fun. Like it was literally just everybody was there having a good time. If people wanted to improv a line, they were encouraged to. Like there was even one part where Matt Shez was playing Fabio, and we were doing our like initial read, and he started going off about how when he moved to Canada, they kept trying to tell him his accent wasn't good enough and all this stuff. And I just looked at Carly, and like, he's saying that, like he is saying that as Fabio. And like that little monologue that he did was like all him, and it was so good. And I think it was good because it was all him. Like it was him saying that. So for me, like with all the actors, I really liked letting them all add a little spin to everything they did, and I think it made it work. Like I think it made every character believable, and it made every scenario fun. And then, yeah, at the end of it, we had to scramble to edit it over a couple weeks, and we got it submitted to the OSIF just in time. And yeah, here we are. It won People's Choice, and yeah, now we're getting all the next ones ready to go. So it's been fun.
For those of you in reference, OSIF stands for Okanagan Society of Independent Film, and the society held an event, the OSAs, which is the Okanagan Screen Awards, and that's where Dad Bod Dale premiered.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my gosh, I've watched it 3 times now, and I don't think I've laughed any less. You mentioned something about the characters and believability, and believability, I think, is the most important thing in storytelling and acting, that conviction. And I think it's just flawless. Like every single character, they they really, I couldn't see them outside of that, right?
Yeah.
So, I got to watch the finished product, and it's it's still putting a smile on my face.
Nice. That's what we wanted.
I'd love to hear what would have been the most challenging scene to shoot, because there's some wild scenes in there.
Well, challenging for different reasons. I mean, the hot dog scene was challenging because so literally when I planned it, I wanted to find a foot-long hot dog, and it was impossible. So I had to find 2 jumbo dogs, and then I put them in the smallest bun that I could find, and just loaded it with mustard. But I had 2 of these, so the way we filmed it was we weren't going to cut back and forth. I was like, just film me eat these 2 hot dogs, and then we'll just cut it afterwards. It was rough, guys. Like halfway through that first one, my mouth was so full of mustard. Like I couldn't do anything. Like we had to, after the first one was done, I'm like, I need like a water break or something. So then we went back in, but it was definitely fun for who was doing sound, because he's like, I've never had to film 8.5 minutes straight of somebody eating a hot dog. And like, so yeah, so we did that, and that was, I would say that would be the most challenging scene, just because. I mean, it was a good thing it was the morning, because I didn't need lunch after that. And and on that day, we should have planned it a little better, because I planned the eating the hot dog and the walking with the ice cream after each other. So it was like, oh, it was rough, guys. We're gonna leave food out of the next one for sure, but definitely that scene.
Watch the hot dog
Yeah.
scene. Make a comment
Yes.
below what you thought about it.
Yes.
That's great. And I think, in filmmaking, that's the magic, right? For audiences, we don't often get the insight on the filmmaking process and
Yeah.
how things come around, and we sit and enjoy our critique, and I'm always interested to get those behind the scenes and hear about how things were made, or what would have been a challenge or a surprise, as you've mentioned there with the monologue with Fabio. And for folks out there who are looking at creating maybe their first comedic short or something, what would be the 3 things you would pass to your younger self?
The first one, don't be afraid to just do it. Like, don't if other people tell you gotta wait, just make it. Just do it. The other one is look at funding. Try to find that first. We made this on no budget, and we were able to do it. But if we looked into that first, we probably could have, done things slower, easier. But you don't need that. Like, you don't need that part. But and then the other one is be very open to ideas. Don't think what you wrote on the paper has to be it. Things can always change as you're filming. Other perspectives can always add something. So definitely, if somebody has an idea for something, obviously be proud of the story you made and kind of hold to what you have, but be very open to this could potentially be something better. So, and there was many instances where we had that. Like one example was, like there was a part where when we threw Fabio out, I wasn't gonna have the part where we had the mattress shown. And she's like, what if we like film him pushing it out? And I'm like, in my head, I'm going like, I don't know, maybe it could work. But that's one of the parts that's like so funny, because it just totally breaks like reality, like this guy's pushing this thing out. Like, I just thought it hit so well. And that was one point where like in the moment, she was like, what if we do this? And it worked, So like definitely in those moments, don't think like, oh no, we got the schedule, we got to, like, no, like listen to that stuff, because it worked. And then another one that she added too was the head falling off. So that was a thing where like as soon as I pick up Hannah's character Cassandra, like right after I throw him, I was just gonna be walking through the door with her, and she's like, what if the head falls off? And like, yeah, it was perfect. So definitely, yeah, like, and those were 2 just in the moment ideas that killed it, So listening to ideas, I would say, was a huge one.
I think that's a really good point. In the collaboration process, I would say potentially comedy would lean the hardest on it.
Yeah.
If you have that organic nature, you can capture those lightning in a bottle moments. And I know as a young amateur filmmaker in high school and that, we were definitely being intuitive and reacting off of each other, and things weren't rigid in those moments. And just watching the tapes back and just to, get the laugh out of ourselves and out of our friends probably came from that nature. And it's a really good reminder. The other thing I think that's the most important thing that I align with that you said is just go out there and do it.
Yeah.
We are in a fantastic time where most all of us are carrying a camera, and I'm not the first person to say this. You can really go out there and do it. And even if something you shoot on your phone ends up being, just a part of the planning process, it can feel really good. It can feel like you're getting something done.
I agree.
Let's get back to Dad Bod Dale. It's out on the festival circuit as of now when we're sitting here talking.
Yeah.
It's doing very well.
Yeah.
Which means that it's getting watched globally by other audiences. What's next for Dad Bod Dale?
Well, right now we're just continuing the festival circuit, so I'm trying to have it submit to certain ones every month right now. Most of that's lined up, and then the next one is we're writing the follow-ups. So right now I'm almost done writing part 2, and then the goal is to start filming that and turning this into a little series. So I think the whole story of Dale and Cassandra, if we can keep that going. Very episodic, I think every time it'll be some different adventure that he goes through every time. It's not going to be the photo shoot every single, there's going to be a new thing every time, but it's going to be, it's going to be a fun thing that I kind of want to work on for the next while. So yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, you seem to be all about fun. I want to rewind for a second. You said that you made a career change or just like a switch from where you were. What career path were you on before jumping over here?
So I used to work in the restaurant industry. For 15 years I was a chef. So in high school, my first job, I was a dishwasher, and I kind of just kept rolling with it, kept moving up. And, for the last 10 years of it, I was a chef, I was a regional chef, I was doing a lot of like senior operations work. And then after that, I moved to being more of a consultant. So I was a business consultant for a few years for a big restaurant chain company. And while I was doing that job, the focus was save enough money to do this. Like I knew at that point, this is what I wanted to do with my life, but I knew that I had to make sure that I was in a financial place to be able to do it. So yeah, that last job I had where I was doing a lot of consulting, it was everything that I have is being put to the side to make a run at this. And after a few years of doing that, I was like, okay, I'm in a place where I can do that. And then that's what got me to here. So it was very much, I was in the corporate world for a while. Like I was doing a lot of business, and it wasn't, for me, it wasn't like my personality. It wasn't what I wanted to do. Like for me, having fun, like joking around, like that's what I want to do. I don't ever want to do a lot of the conversations where it's just business, And you got to do that sometimes, but I really wanted to use the creative side of my brain. Like that was what I got into being a chef for. And then as you got further down the road, it kind of stopped being that for me. But I really wanted to do that with my life. Like creative stuff is what I love to do all the time. So from there, that's when the path of acting and all the stuff really took full force. It was the thing, when I was 18, you go left or right. I chose the practical route. Looking back, I wouldn't say I regret it because I think a lot of my life experiences have made me the actor that I am right now, and I think it's given me the confidence to do a lot of the things that I'm doing. But yeah, sometimes I wonder if at 18 I would have done that route, would things be different? But I'm happy right now. Like I'm happy at the place I am. I'm happy where my career is at. So I don't regret it at all. Like I'm really happy doing this.
Is there anything about chefing that you miss?
The social dynamic. Like that was a really fun part of it, hanging out, joking around, never taking stuff seriously because, if you're in a busy day, you got to lighten the mood. You have to like bring it down. So for me, like the little games that you could play, like I used to do stupid stuff where like I used to do a lot of store opens for a company that I worked for, and you always have to have name tags because there's no way you can remember 70 names. So I would do games where it would be like, okay, so today everybody has to pick their American Gladiator name. So like whatever you think your American, so it'd be like Nitro, like that you're doing that stuff. Or like one time I was like, so this is a good story. It was I think I was in Saskatchewan at the time, and it was like, okay, like what would be your stripper name? Like that was the choice. And there was this one guy, I don't remember his name, but he was like very quiet, like meek, like you could tell it was his first job, like didn't get out much. And he was just like out of nowhere, he's like, I'm the all beef patty. So for the rest of the time I was there, everybody was calling this guy the all beef patty. I really hope that it stuck. Like I hope that's still his nickname. But all the little shenanigans, all the fun, stupid stuff that you could do, that was, for me, everything. That's why I would go to work. So, like, I think that definitely played a part into why I do what I do now. But yeah, like just the shenanigans by far.
So you're in a nice high-rise building. You're in the penthouse.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. Low incandescent light. Sparkly city outside nighttime.
Yeah.
You've got somebody that you're maybe impressing. What is the cam dish that's being cooked?
Ooh. I really like to make like fresh gnocchi, so like that would probably be something that I would do for sure. When I was doing my culinary apprenticeship, one of the like I had to do my black box for my level 1, and one of the things that I made for that was gnocchi, and I just really like making fresh pasta out of potatoes. So yeah, like
It's
for
a
sure.
good combination.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
It's
these
decent.
little pillows of joy.
Yeah.
What kind of sauce are we putting with it?
Whatever sauce you want, Matt. What, are you a rosé guy? A little pesto? Anything goes. Yeah.
You know, I'm an energy drawn guy.
Ooh.
So it's got to be the moment. Like, what's the music playing? What time of day is it? What city are we in? Those kinds of things play to my palate for sure.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
Are we mapping out a date right now? Is this about to happen?
Well, I mean, we've got it on tape, so I think it has to happen.
Man, just I'm a third date kind of girl though, so you're gonna have to wait.
I'll eat 3 meals to get there, buddy.
Nice.
Okay, so listen, time flies when we're in the studio. Before I get to a little game that I like to play on here, I would love to know, outside of Dat Bod Dale, what's something you're looking for in your career, maybe in your acting career?
I feel like the same thing as most people, doing meaningful work, doing roles that I enjoy doing. Like that's one thing I like about Kelowna right now is there's a lot of productions coming here that are bringing, things that have different elements than what we've normally seen. There's a lot more comedy coming out here. There's, thrillers. So for me, I really like the fact that locally there's a lot of opportunities for me with what I do right now. So definitely continuing to work down the comedy route. Obviously, that's not all I do. Like I would like to eventually do drama, and like one thing I've always wanted to do is play the villain in like a horror movie or something like that, But definitely keep going down the route of playing roles that I enjoy, working with people that I like, and I feel like when you do that, all the stuff lines up together. So that's for me.
Oh, that's great. Villain role got me thinking, hey, if you have a script right now and you're looking for a villain or an actor to play a villain, one of the hardest working actors here in the Okanagan and definitely talented as well. But before I let you go, the whole entire world blacks out. There's no power. There's bringing a solar flare.
Yep.
And movies are now unwatchable. But there's one device left that runs off of uranium.
Yep.
And so it gets to live on for the next 60 years, but it can only hold 5 films.
Yep.
And you have 10 seconds to give me what 5 films are going to remain in the world canon. Cue the music and 10 seconds on the clock.
All right, so we're gonna go Superbad, 1, Saving Private Ryan, Almost Famous, Tommy Boy, Step Brothers.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good list.
On the spot.
Wow.
I had to do that quick.
I think you did the best out of every guest. I'm
Nice.
just saying, and nothing against other guests, but learn to be decisive like Cam. My man, it's so wonderful to have you here. Every time I get to hang out with you, it's a pleasure, and you always leave me with a smile. So,
Aw, shucks.
thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thanks. No, this was fun. Good time.
Cheers.
Is your foot asleep too?
Yeah, it's very asleep.